It is deeply concerning. It is deeply sad because sexual abuse of animals is something which has been an offense in India since 1860. And it is not something new, it's not a new ask. And more than that, I think it's not just animals that will be impacted, but it will also impact the society at large, because people who abuse animals are three times more likely to commit a crime against a fellow human being. So, at least in the interest of the society at large and the public at large, the Honorable Home Minister of India should consider adding this provision and only then passing the BNS Bill 2023 in Parliament. Prior to the BNS Bill, the provision with regard to sexual abuse was IPC Section 377. IPC stands for Indian Penal Code. So this Indian Penal Code is a statute which is being replaced by the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita BNS. And under the IPC, under Section 377, sexual abuse of animals or bestiality is a very serious offense. It's a non-bailable offense, punishable with imprisonment up to life term or up to 10 years along with fine. So the provision is extremely stringent. And sadly, this provision is not being, created. A similar provision is not being created under the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita or the BNS. So this is exactly what the matter is.
And what is the reason, even if it was advised to add this section or to leave the section in the new bill, why would the government not do that?
So we do not have clarity on why it is not happening. From whatever we are given to understand, it seems to be an oversight, but it is too serious a matter to be an oversight, and too big a thing to be overlooked, or to be an oversight, because it is going to have disastrous consequences. Can we imagine people who are raping animals will essentially go scot-free, and they will be a danger to society, not just animals, because their next prey might be an animal, might be a child, might be a woman, might be an elderly person.
Yeah, it's that's proven, right? There's been a lot of research done on
Yes,
this topic that
absolutely.
humans who hurt animals are also most very likely to hurt humans later
Three
on.
times more likely. People who commit crimes against animals are three times more likely to commit a similar crime against a fellow human being. This has been an offense since the year 1860. Since decades together, this has been an offense. So,
Yeah.
what is the reason? Cases of sexual abuse against animals are only increasing. There is no justifiable reason to remove this provision. If at all, it needs to be strengthened. If at all, there have to be more guidelines as to how cases of sexual abuse against animals must be investigated and must be seen through in court, perhaps in a fast track fashion. That is the need of the hour, not to outlaw it, not to just disregard it, and not to treat it as something very petty or minor or something, because it is not.
We have spoken in the past also about humans raping animals, which for some reason we follow a lot of animal welfare organization in India, and this is something that happens, and it's beyond cruel. The incidences that have been filmed or that were
Absolutely.
caught on, it's
If I
unimaginable
may interject, there is a report by VOSD, Voice of Stray Dogs, from the year 2014. It says that the number of sexual assault cases against animals is same as humans, but it is extremely underrated, because the victim is an animal and there is nobody to stand for them, nobody to speak up for them. So these cases are highly underreported,
Yeah.
and those who are reported also are huge in number. There are cows, there are buffaloes, there are goats, sheep, dogs. Not a single animal has been spared, and these cases are widely reported in the media.
You're from PETA India, but I know you've all are partnering up now to fight this. But when this news came on Tuesday, how was this received by all of you to for the second time learn that the law that actually since 1860 prevents this from happening or protects the animals was taken out?
So basically, we got to know last minute for the simple reason that when we submitted our recommendations to the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Home Affairs, we were assured that this would be taken care of. Post which we met the Deputy Secretary Judicial of the Ministry of Home Affairs and also explained to him why this provision is important and why it needs to be retained, etc., etc. Uh, we got to know only on the 12th of December when the Honorable Union Home Minister reintroduced this bill in Parliament, the revised bill. When it was uploaded on the website of the lower house or the Lok Sabha, which is when we realized that even in the revised bill, this provision is completely missing. And that is when we started working on it. It's been just 6 days since we got to know, because that is when this was made public, this document. There was no other way we could come to know about it. Since then, FIAPO also has been, like advocating against this particular provision, asking people to urge the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, to intervene in this matter and to recognize how serious a lapse this is.
And when will this?
HSI, People for Animals, all these organizations agree with what we are saying, and they have also, activated their own network of supporters, etc., to kind of explain to the government that this is a very, very important and very crucial aspect which is missing in the bill.
And what is the when will this pass? This bill? When is the set date to vote on it?
It is expected to be passed this week. That is what I have learned from the website of the Lok Sabha. That this bill is going to be tabled. It has already been tabled. It is going to be brought for discussion and passage this week itself. So we are trying to, reach out to as many people as possible who can influence, who can make the government realize and understand that this is an extremely crucial issue, and it just does not relate to animals, but it relates to the safety and security of people at large. So, at least if not for animals, at least for the society at large, this provision has to be added.
And it's also my
Not
understanding that this provision, it's because now what is protected by law is if a woman is raped by a man in India. But if this provision, this sector 377, is not added, it also means that men, transgender people, and animals, all these three vulnerable groups, are excluded from protection from sexual
That's
abuse.
absolutely correct. Men, transgender, non binary persons, and animals. All these four, you know, class of individuals will be at risk. Because if a man is raped by a man, he has no remedy in law. It is not considered as rape. It is not considered as sexual abuse by the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. So while the government's intention of getting rid of laws which were made in the British era is absolutely, welcome, and it's very well intentioned and it's a great measure, but we cannot go backwards. We have to only move forwards. We are even going behind the British times by not having a provision for sexual abuse of animals. And that cannot be the case. The new India or the new Bharat is not what this is. We need more and stronger protection for animals and for people, not that the provisions to get lost because of oversight or something like that. This is a very, very big issue, and I hope and I earnestly request the government to please pay attention to this, because this is going to have an overcompassing effect on the lives of animals as well as people. I'd like to just give one quick example which would be
Yeah.
relevant to this. There is this convicted criminal from India. His name is Amirul Islam. He had he had raped and killed a Kerala law student whose name was Jisha. And his past has been such that he has raped and killed dogs and goats. So there is clearly a demonstrated history of first abusing animals, and then when you have been able to, succeed in overpowering them, your courage only gets emboldened and you try it out on fellow human beings. So it is a clear case study from India, and if we fail to recognize it, it will be a extremely huge loss to the society.
And it's yeah, yeah, true. And it's what you say, people get confident when they get a free for
True.
all hand to do things with animals, and once they do that, humans is next.
Yeah, yeah.
But for the cruelty it is to animals, this any abuse is horrible to animals, but this form just with humans, like this form of abuse is it's
Depraved form of abuse,
exactly.
perverted and depraved, absolutely. And there
And I,
should be no place for such abuse in a civilized society. And the Supreme Court also noted that bestiality or sexual abuse of animals does not augur on a civilized society, does not reflect of a civilized society. So how can the directions of the apex court of the top judiciary of this country be ignored?
it's shocking that, like you said, it's shocking there has been a rule since 1860 and the government is taking out something. And when you think of new laws or you want to make them better, you would expect to make them stronger punishment for these kind of crimes and not less punishment.
Rather, there is no punishment. That's the irony. Not even less. There is absolutely no punishment.
Yeah.
Sadly.